Welcome to Honest Combos with Karen.
And Marcia. We're longtime biz besties bringing you along for the journey of building a business and life you actually want.
No fluff, no filters, just honest conversations about the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into it.
All right, welcome back to Honest Combos with Karen and Marcia. And this episode, we are going to talk about prioritizing, which the eternal struggle, especially for someone who's running a business solo and wearing all the hats, juggling all the things, like everything is important. And then prioritizing business and life and just making it all fit in, making it all work. It's never easy. So we're not going to pretend like it is, but we are going to talk about it. We're just going to dig in and talk about what it is to prioritize, some of the tools that we've used. We have like a process that we kind of invented ish, like pulling from some different things that we had read or seen or researched. And when we had our previous iteration of the podcast, we actually had a whole program that was an accelerator, and it was built around this idea of the domino. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, we're just going to talk about what it means to prioritize, how to stop spinning and actually like do the things that matter to you.
Yes, I love this topic because as someone that's like very creative and also very chaotic, it's so important to just take a step back and be like, what is my priority right now? And yeah, what Karen was talking about, like our next leveler accelerator that we had, it was based on the one thing. Who was that?
Is it Gary? I think it's Gary something.
Yeah, Gary. But anyway, so the one thing he talks about like the domino effect where it's like if you can figure out what your priority is, then you can focus on that and then that one can knock down all of these other dominoes. So for me though, as like a creative person, whenever I'm feeling extremely overwhelmed and I have a lot of stuff going on, which is not often because I usually like schedule myself accordingly, but like sometimes you have a jump the line client where they pay you money. They pay you an absurd amount of money because they really need something done quick. And it's like, so sometimes I'll, open myself up to that, but then it's like it really does cause an effect like on the other parts of my life. What I do is I literally have to go pen to paper, like, not even on my phone, not even ask Chatty that's what Chatty GPT, that's
Yeah, Chatty
Karen
G.
Chatty G, but basically, I just get the paper, maybe put some music on, and just write down, "Okay, this is everything that has to be done right now," and then segment it, and then realize, like, because it's like, when you're living with all of that stuff swirling around in your brain, a lot of these things, there's no timing, there's no set timer, and it's like, it's just stupid little annoyances. I'm out of milk. That's not a priority. And you could easily just order it to be delivered. But yeah, like that's what works for me is just get it all out on paper and then realize like what's an actual priority and what's going to help get away all of the mental drama that I'm creating around all of these like minute things that actually need to be done.
Yeah, no, and that I love that you said that because that is one of my favorite habits is like the brain dumping. Because it is, the spinning, if you feel like you're spinning, and you're just like, I have so much to do. I don't know what to do first. I don't know what matters. I don't like if you're just like caught in that swirl, you need to brain dump. Like that's the biggest thing that will help is like just get it all down on paper, literally every little thing that's popping into your head that's a to-do. And then like Marcia said, you can start to prioritize. You can start to say, okay, well, this is the thing. And you can identify your dominoes because you might not even know what is the biggest thing that will knock over something out, all the other things because it's just all in your head. So like once you see it on the paper, you can say, okay, if I do this, then it makes these other five things easy or it almost takes care of them, right? And so it's important. Like if you have all this like grocery shopping to do, like make one order and now it's done, right? Like so but you might not be thinking about that in your head. You're just like, I need milk, I need butter, I need this, I need, and it's like, oh my God. It's like, okay, just write it all down. So lists and brain dumping are like they're just like so practical and like old school. So I think people overlook it. They don't think of it. And you can use tools like AI and stuff, but I'm not that integrated. So I won't be the one to say use ChatGPT to make a grocery list, but I suppose people are doing that. So you could try that. But I mean, just having it on your notes app, when you go to the store, so you don't have to think about what you're getting. I mean, so just like super simple at your fingertips, you already have tools, can be a lifesaver. And sometimes you're just caught up in the day to day, like you're just moving, you're going, you're just doing stuff, like you don't even like take a moment to just think like, oh, did I even make a to-do list? Like, did I even dump all of the things out of my head to say, okay, this is the three things for today, these are the three things for tomorrow. So just take a step back and like get yourself out of the swirl, because that's, if you stay in that energy, in that swirly, spinny energy, you're going to continue to do stuff. You'll be busy, but at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, quarter, year, you'll be like, what did I even spend my time on? And you don't want to stay stuck in that kind of mode.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's that chaotic like spastic vibration, and that bleeds into like every aspect of your life. So I wanted to talk to you, Karen, because uh, I have personal friends and I have people that I've worked with, and knowing what a genius you are with your systems and everything, and optimization and productization and all of that, like I feel like you know I try not to overstep and tell people how to live their life and how to run their business, and but it's like you see people and and they complain, and they every time you see them they just seem so overwhelmed. Basically, like, they're saying the same thing, and it's not a situation where I feel like I can help them. Like, obviously I could give them like some off the cuff ideas of like, okay, well, I feel like the reason why this is happening is because you don't have the systems in place, like there's no automation, there's nothing running in the background. I think my question for you is like for the people who don't even know that they need help, like how can you be supportive to them like as a friend? Cuz like I know these people where they're exchanging hours for pay, but they're literally working themselves to death, and also like they have families that require a lot, can you help with that? Like when people don't even know that they need to have a priority.
Yeah.
Karen, how
Oh gosh, I know. And that is like that's where I meet a lot of people at, right? Like I mean where you meet people where they are, that is where a lot of people I meet are at. And really the first thing that I always say is like tell me about your day. Like tell me how your day typically goes. Like not the day where everything went to hell, but the day that is like the norm, right? Whatever the norm is for your life and business. And in that conversation, like as I'm hearing, so like even if it's like me just talking to a friend and I'm like, well, what was yesterday like? Tell me how your day went. I can kind of like spot like, oh, okay, this is maybe where you could have used a tool. Do you have a planner? Okay, did you even identify your big three for the day? Okay, that's interesting. You can kind of spot that. And sometimes for the person, like just even thinking through, what did I do? Like, what was my day like? A lot of times, again, we just go day to day. And next thing you know, a week went by. Oh, time is flying by so fast, right? How many times do we say that? Time is gone. Oh my God, it's March already. It's April already. It's May. It's June. Next thing you know, it's 2026. Like, but if you really take the time to just think about what you're even spending time on, and then start to think about your values, like what matters to you, what's important to you, and is what you're spending your time on matching up with that. So it is a lot of self-reflection that's required. And then that's when you can start prioritizing. I don't think, I don't know personally how anyone can prioritize if they don't have clarity around their values and what matters to them, because that's your barometer. If an opportunity comes, if a client you might have a client that it could seem like the perfect client, and then you talk to the person and you're like, oh my God, that would be a nightmare. I don't want to work with this person. Like, hell no. Like, you have to like know your values to even be able to discern, right? Like, how do listen to your intuition? Like, I think it starts with those values. So if you're not like, that's one of the things too, I'll be like, what is important to you? What matters? Like, if you were to prioritize, how would you do that? Like, and so just kind of stuff like that will get the conversation going. So someone could be like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never identified my values really, which is not it's not a good or bad thing, right? There's no good or bad here. It's helpful. That is probably the single most helpful tool is understanding and knowing your values and what matters to you to then use that to prioritize tasks, to prioritize like who you'll work with in your business, how you'll build your business. Like if you are more committed to the money, which again, not good or bad, but if your value is more in the financial, then you're going to make different decisions than if your value is more in having like freedom and time to yourself and, space in your calendar. So that's why you have to know what matters to even be able to make those kind of decisions and to know where you want to take things. You have to start with values.
I absolutely love this. That is so good because I feel like with this modern day, like there's just this has always been one of my biggest issues with people, and you're saying no judgment, and like I don't have judgment either. It's just more of an observation, and it's more of like a why. And I don't know if it's like upbringing or like it's the hedonic treadmill. It's like we're constantly working towards stuff, and it's like if you are brought up or you've been programmed to believe that external validation is success, then it's hard to have values and like a mission for yourself. And I feel like so many people, they just get so busy and they're so focused on the external, like, when you, it's like if you're single, I need to date someone. So then you start dating and then you're like, okay, well, now we need to get married. And then you get married and then it's like, okay, well, now we need to buy a house. And then you buy a house and then, well, now we need to have kids. And then you have kids. And now we need to get divorced. Now you get divorced. And it's not, like kids, I don't think that they think, what's my life goal? And like when people ask, adults, like we're always like, you really should have something in mind that you want to do, or, like it's not even like, what do you want to do? It's like, who do you want to be? Like, who do you want to be as a person? Like, what's going to make you realize that you can help more people, that you can be kind, that you can have joy, and you can live a fulfilled life as opposed to like this facade that looks like it's a great life. You have the big house, you have the vacation home, you have whatever, like nice cars and all of this, but like inside you feel dead because like there's so many freaking pressures that you have. And it's like, not to say that one, because like, my husband, as I said, he works at a country club and he has a lot of clients, and some of them are the happiest people you'd ever meet. They have, trials and tribulations, obviously, and then some are just like the most wretched people, and it's like, so the money doesn't make the person or whatever, but like it's like having an idea of what actually matters, and it's different for everyone too. Like everybody's values are different, and I think that they can evolve too. Like, my kids, that was my prioritization, like after I had them. And then but like I had other values too that I hadn't uncovered, and so like I might have been like a better parent had I known the other type of fulfillment that I could get from other things, you know? So, and I think it started for me like I worked for a mortgage company in my early 20s, right before the bubble burst. I'm aging myself, but you already said we were in our 40s, which, by the way, I might dub that out. Just kidding. Age is a beautiful thing. Um, but in my 20s, I was working for this mortgage lender and they were referral only. So, like, they didn't do any marketing, which is like, now where I'm at, I'm like, that's some boss stuff back there. This is before the bubble burst. And I went to like a conference in Chicago, which conferences are sometimes a place where married people just hook up with other people. Anyway, we'll get into that some other time. But and I was just like, I was in my early 20s. I was like, ew, this is gross, you know? so so sheltered. But they had like workshops and breakouts where like there was a speaker and they have you do like a diagram and it's like, here's the 10 different pie pieces of your chart. Like this is family, this is finances, this is blah blah blah, and they have you fill it in and I was like, I'm so glad that that happened in my early 20s where like I was able to know that that was even a thing that people talked about, that, like, adult people, because they were, like, all in their 40s and 50s, and I was like, "Oh, these old ass people," like and, like, while I was doing it, I was like, "What is this? Like, when do I get to go to the bar?" Like, I was just having a good time, but, like, just doing that, it was like, "Oh," and, like, the more personal development you're in, you realize, like, the importance of having these anchors that make you respect yourself more. They help you with your boundaries, like know how other people what you will allow other people to get away with. Yeah, so it's like in business, yeah, like we want to make the money to support ourselves. Maybe we want to have a team, maybe we want, but it's like but what does the money do? What's the money a tool for? What's that bringing up for you? That was a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's so good. I love when you said, like, who do you want to be? The values really being a tool to, like, who respect yourself and like because no one's opinion, and this comes up a lot, especially when you're building business online, like no one else's opinion of you is ever gonna matter more to you than your own, although we disregard our own a lot because we think we need to achieve whatever other people want to see from us or be. And so it's like I used to, whenever like the first like authentic, like be your authentic self, like whenever that all started, I was like, this is revolutionary. Like like just being yourself is like a, I mean, I didn't think that. I mean, I grew up, in a household where being myself was like the most celebrated thing, like just being who I naturally was. So like I don't know how to be anyone else, right? I never have. What you see is what you get. And I was recently told I'm instantly likable, so that was kind of cool. But like, so when like all of this like revolutionary, be yourself, your authentic self, I'm like, isn't that just what everyone does? But I started to see that it's not. And so it is like, who do you want to be? Like the way you spend your time is how you're spending your life. And I think, with us being older now, because you're right, like in my 20s, I didn't even know what value, I never heard the word, right? And then I think maybe in my 30s is when it kind of, started to kind of dig into the work. And of course, once you get into entrepreneurship, it just personal development journey just wide open. So values and prioritizing all of that comes up naturally as you're building a business and digging into who you want to be as a person and as a business owner and as a contributor to the community and all that stuff. And so it's like, being in your, and it does change. Like whatever I thought was my values in my 30s when I had younger children, all that stuff is definitely not the same as what I value now and what I'm prioritizing today, Because again, bed, Netflix, number one on the list. So so you definitely are gonna like let it evolve. Like it doesn't have to stay the same. Like you as a person are not going to stay the same. I mean, if I were to sit down with myself from 20 years ago, we probably would not recognize each other. Like, we'd be like, who are you? You're me? I don't know. I mean, it's just very interesting to think about your own like evolution and the fact that, the way again back to the way you spend your time is how you're spending your life. Like it's not just hours and minutes and seconds and days and months and years. I mean, it is literally your life. Like your life is happening every day you're doing, and you don't get it back. Like time is the only thing. Once it's gone, it's gone. Like it's, today we're recording this, it's 10:07. Once it turns 10:08, we're never going to have today at 10:07 again, right? Like it just keeps moving forward. And like I don't know that we really soak that in like the reality of that. Like time is the only thing. Like money comes, goes, you'll get more, you'll spend it, you'll get more, you'll spend it, you'll save it, you'll do stuff with it. But time? No, no. And when you're a parent, maybe you kind of do kind of reflect on that more just because you see it in your children, right? You see, like, wait a minute, you were a baby and now you're 20. What happened, right? And so it's a little bit more like in your face when you are a parent, but it also can be in your face when you have a business because you're watching your business grow or change, or like your business is your baby too, right? It feels like it, at least. You birth things, you grow things, you end things, you send things off to college, aka you archive them and don't sell them anymore. Like, so I think it really, when you soak in the reality of how important it is to spend your life, aka time, in the places that it matters to you, on the things that matter to you, in the ways that are aligned with who you want to be, you just have to give it that gravity, like that importance. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I need to prioritize. Like, you're not going to waste the time anymore after that.
Yeah, that's so good. I think when we first started this episode, it was about like figuring out like when there's dis-ease within you, like realizing like, okay, I don't have my priorities straight, and like something that I've been focusing on this year because I've been having some reproductive organ situations. And so I've been focusing on my health, and like I said, with the two full-time jobs, like I just kind of, and it's an age thing, like your body starts to, but like I've never really been into fitness or eating healthy or anything like that. And now it's like I'm starting to prioritize that. Prioritizing my health, like, it's like there's so many benefits that come from that, so, but it's like you can really start anywhere at any time. And I feel like, like I never want people to be discouraged or dissuaded from like what we're saying about, like me saying, the hedonic treadmill, and how like basically we're just all kind of like working towards, we don't even know because the goalpost changes, but it's like you can start at any time, like changing your ways. Like if your health isn't good, make one small change, like I cut out sugar, I think like 4 weeks ago. And then I got a walking pad, which is like all the rage. Oh my God, I do 30 minutes a day. And I'm like, in my mid 30s, when I was diagnosed with PMDD, the doctor told me, he's like, I need you to walk 30 minutes 3 times a day. I mean, not a day. Like, "What?" No, 30 minutes 3 times a week. And I was like, "Impossible. It won't happen." And then, like, I joined gyms. I'd tried to do it, whatever. I got this freaking walking pad, and I've done it every single day for 30 minutes. It's the only time I listen to podcasts, so I get my podcast, like, loaded up before I get on, and I do it at different times during the day, but, like, it took me this long to figure out what would actually work with me, but I didn't give up on myself. I was like, I need to do something. And like last year, I'd lost a lot of weight. I went keto. And then I ended up like, I ate like a donut and gained it all back. LOL, laugh out loud. Um, but I I gained the weight back, and like the issue with the keto was I had lost so much weight so quickly that I felt physically weak. And so I cut the sugar out, and then I started doing the walking pad, and I'll probably cut out gluten again because it's just not good for me. Because me grain brain, and like makes me slow and sluggish. And so, but like it's like, so my priority was health, but I kind of had to switch things around. But anyway, but I do, and it's funny because like part of our, what was it, leveler? What was it?
Next levelers.
Next levelers. Yeah, part of that was like, you can only have one priority at a time. And like, what are your thoughts on that? Because now I'm like, I don't think you can only have, because we're so
Yeah.
multifaceted.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I think the idea, and I mean, I get behind the thought of like, if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. I understand that. However, I do think like you're gonna have priorities in different life areas, right? Like you have a priority when it comes to your finances, a priority when it comes to your health, a priority when it comes to your family, a priority when it comes to your self growth and learning. And so that's where I kind of think, yes, you would have multiple priorities, but like then you have to have like sub priorities. Like if money has this one priority, that's the top thing, then what are kind of like the next in line, right? Like once that thing is done, then you have the others that you want to achieve. So yeah, I think you have to have, you're not going to just be one thing period, you know. And so like when we had the next levelers and we had the domino, we would start Monday with identify your domino, right? Like what is the domino, but it was related to your business. So like it was like what is your priority in your business this week, the one thing that if you get this done, it makes other things easier, it makes other things naturally happen, it makes, you know. So it's like it was in the business context. Now if you were in a more general set sense, we could have said like what is your domino for finances, for health, for business, for, you know what I mean. You could have had definitely multiples. Because yeah, we're just humans are, we're so cool, aren't we? We have so many different layers and so many different parts of ourselves. And so it, that I think is a struggle when you try to distill it down to like, well, I can only have one priority, not overall. I don't think that's possible. Like from what I found in, you know, just my own self-growth journey. Like I have to have priorities in these multiple areas of life because I'm a multiple, you know, not multiple personality, but multifaceted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's wild just how, it's like I don't know. It trips me out sometimes thinking like all the things and thoughts and actions and everything that I take in a day, and somebody is complete opposite of that, and like but we're all just humans humaning, but like we all have different things that drive us. We all have different things that we're scared of, and yeah, and I think like the thing that I've really benefited from by prioritizing my health, in addition to other things like prioritizing like getting actual business out of the chamber, that kind of thing. With the health is that it impacts the other aspects of my life. So like by this working out, it's helping me drink less, it's helping me have more energy. Like with the doctor saying that and me being like, no way. And now I'm like, oh man, if I had, 10 years. Tank, you good, man? What just happened? I think he bit his tail. Whatever. I don't know what's happening in this house. Um, like if I had just listened to him 10 years ago, like I would have had a 10-year jump start on a healthy, but it's like you can't think like that. Like all you can think about is right now. Like you said, it was 10:07. We're never going to get 10:07 back again. It's like we just need to think, what is it that I can do in this moment that's going to help future Karen, future Marcia? Like, what can I prioritize? And it's funny because, like, I love your memory because, like, mine, I'm kind of like, I don't, yeah, anyway. Um, but we had that declaration on Monday, and then we would check in on Wednesday, right? And then Friday. Like Wednesday we would co-work together and work on it, and then Wednesday or Thursday, and then Friday it was like you posted in the Facebook group like what you had accomplished or like where you, and there was no judgment with that cuz like sometimes defining what your priority was for that week, you started working on and you realize, oh, this is actually part of a bigger picture, or like this isn't actually gonna, like this is just busy work. This was just something that I was I said I was a priority, but it's not because there's no ROI, like um but I do like the idea of like just sitting down with your thoughts because like I've seen this in like Facebook groups where, and I always share, like that the cultivate what matters, those planners that we used to do, that helped me so much because there were like the six different parts of your life and you would rate them, and then Karen, Kim, and I, we would meet up and we would, reflect on the previous month and then forecast for the next month. And it was like, I realized that I really missed seeing my parents so often because before the kids started school, we would go up to visit them like, every other month maybe and spend like 3 to 4 days, and it was just lovely, and then they started school and I started working and like at Playworker Dash and um like I realized I was like, "Oh, I really miss my parents?" And then I started doing a weekly phone call with my mom, and it's still like how many 11 years later, and we're still doing that every week, and we still see them a couple times a year. But it was like, had I not been reflecting on how I was feeling, I I would have probably just felt like, well, this is just how it is. Suck it up. You just can't have a relationship with. And it's like, no, I can have a freaking phone call or we could FaceTime or like there's always things that you can do. So, but it's like figuring it, and then I think that ties down to your values too, like family and yeah. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. It's like I love that you said that because it really is like when you're thinking like, well, how am I really going to figure out my about like what I care about, what is important to me, what I want to prioritize, and it is like that reflection and using the reflection, the intuition, the personal check-ins. Like I think the what you're probably picking up, hopefully, is that it has to be driven by you. Like it has to come from you. It needs to be from your internal you. Like it can't be what your spouse thinks or your partner thinks is important or what your biz bestie told you should focus on in your business or what your coach or mentor like though all of the people that because a lot of times what I have found is sometimes we'll crowdsource or we're like, what do you think? Like, this is what I'm faced with. What do you think I should prioritize? And it can be helpful to talk through it with folks, but like, it's always got to be you, your self governed guidance that makes the final decision because you don't want to end up in a resentful place or in a, oh my God, I just wasted my time or, I still don't have what I want. I still didn't do the things I wanted to do. So it's like, it always has to be like, guided and self reflection and intuition and all of the things that matter to you, which again sound like a broken record, but start with the values. Because you're not going to get more time and you don't really need more time. Like when you're busy and you think, oh my God, I just need, I need more time. I need more time in my day. Like it's not really about the time. It's about having that clarity. It's about that governed, self identified. I know what I want. I know what matters to me. I know what's going to like get me to the goal that I am trying to achieve in my business. Like, having all of that clarity is what's going to help you prioritize and move the needle when you're doing the things that are in alignment with who you want to be, how you want to show up, the energy you're trying to bring into the world. Like it all has to come from, start with, end with. It's all about you.
Yes, I do want to clarify though, because Karen and I are both very hireable. And even, because she was saying it has to come from you, but there are people who can strategize and help you so they can see, like, you have to know what it is though. Like, if you want that freedom, if you want to be able to go on vacation and not worry about doing an out of office run or whatever, like, there are people who can help you with the actual steps to get there, but it's like you do have to understand, like, okay, like in what I said earlier about money, like if money is a priority for you, what is it that the money's buying? Is the money buying, like, are you putting money towards your kids college, or do you need to um I don't know, pay for vacation or like get out of debt, or like what is the money really the tool for? And then seek out that, like, that advice, cuz like I just don't want people to be like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, because it's like
Mm-hmm.
you can get
Mm-hmm.
in your, you can overthink, like, well, I
Oh
don't
my
know what my
gosh.
price.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, and that is where, like you said, a coach, a strategist, mentor, consult, like there's so many different names for the things that can help you in that way. But it is like they are still gonna have to have the like you have to tell them what it is you want
right.
and then they can help you achieve it. Like it always still starts right with like what do I want, who am I, who am I trying to be, what are my values, what am I prioritizing, what kind of business am I trying to build, how big do I want it to be, how small do I want it to be, what do I want to achieve with the money I'm going to make, like all of that still is what you want it to be. And then right, hiring Marcia or Karen or both to help you achieve it is totally an option and recommended.
Yes.
But yeah, but I would never like, I mean, and I've had clients. I remember this one, she's like, "Well, do you think I should update my LinkedIn profile?" Like she was like she has a job as the leadership coaching I was doing. She has, a really high power position and she was looking for other positions because she felt like she was like at a growth plateau, right? Like and she's like, "I can't grow here. They didn't hire her for a job she applied for." She's like, "Okay, I need to go somewhere else." And so she's like, kind of tell me what to do. Like, should I update my LinkedIn profile and what should I do with my LinkedIn? And that sounds like an easy question, right? For me to just, maybe I could have just told her, right? But I didn't. I
Yeah.
said, what benefit do you gain from updating your LinkedIn profile? And what do you miss or what does it do for you not updating it, right? Like I was a thought partner. I
Yeah.
kind of helped her and by the end, she did get to the point where she's like, "Yeah, I need to update my LinkedIn profile." But if I would have just told her, "Yeah, update your LinkedIn profile," that would not have given her the clarity that she needed in the conversation journey that we had, that she had to get there on her own. That was where I would have landed. And I'm glad she landed there too. And if she had landed somewhere else, I would have been there with her too, right? But if I was going to just say, yeah, update it. But again, the attachment that she had to that result is because of the journey she went on to figure out, yes, I want to update my LinkedIn profile. This is why. Like she had that clarity. And so it always, again, like even if you're hiring someone, don't I am not a advocate for them to just like tell you what to do 100%. I think it needs to be a partnership. It needs to be a journey we're both on. Because if I just tell you what to do and you're like, well, she's the expert, she knows what she's talking about, so I'm just going to do it, but it's not what you really want, then you're going to self sabotage, you're going to drag your feet, you're going to get distracted and prioritize everything else. And then the next call, well, I didn't do that thing yet because, well, my kid's this and my that and I'm like, so do you want to do this or not, right? Like it's just so yeah, it's so important. Like in the beginning of my coaching, I would do a lot of that, just tell people what to do. And I found that it's just not, that's not a successful method. And I don't work with people who just tell me what to do anymore. Like if I'm with someone, like, yes, if I'm hiring you for your expertise, you're a strategist, you know your shit, but like don't just give me your cookie cutter process.
Yeah.
Like we need to have a partnership and you need to understand my values and what I'm trying to build. And then you are going to coach me and give me strategy that fits what I'm trying to do versus putting me in your box. So long rabbit hole, but that's kind of, yeah, 100%. Like you definitely need experts to help you along the way, but they need to be guided by you a little bit as well.
Oh, I love that. Cause and that goes back to our human connection, right? Cause you could have
Mhm.
Chatty G, you can type all that in, like, but it's like having that person to actually like hear and hold space for you and get those answers out of you that you didn't even know you had questions to, where it's like, yeah, I love that example of the LinkedIn thing because there's so many different it's if it's pressing enough for somebody to ask you about it, then like they have to uncover why, because that is a big step. That means that she's opening herself up to like because, you know, did you know this that like people or businesses can track like whenever updates are made to your LinkedIn profile? There's like some
No,
type
I
of
didn't know that.
software. Yeah, so then that's how they can kind of get an idea if people are on their way out. I heard about that. I was like, "Oh, dang." Who did? But now I'm a free agent, so but but yeah, like that's it's kind of putting that flag in the sand that's saying like, okay, this is I'm open to this transition. I'm open to change and everything. And it's like understanding the magnitude of that and making sure that it's in alignment because you know that there's going to be disruption. So if you're prioritizing, like getting a new leadership position because you weren't treated fairly or how you wanted to be treated, like that's a whole lot of emotional mental stuff that goes into that. But then when like you could talk to a friend, they'll be like, yeah, yeah, just update your LinkedIn. Like, like what's the big deal? It's like it is a big deal, okay? Yeah, that's good. I love it.
Yeah. So if you're kind of like, where do I start? Right. Like, I think it is like starting with that, what writing, like brain dumping, everything that's on your mental to do list, like just get that brain dump out and then start to like circle the things that are like the big needle movers, like we've talked about. Like that probably is like a great first step. And then, of course, a good planner. Marsha mentioned, the power sheets that we use. And then I use, sorry, my phone is not on silent. My bad. And then I also use like the full focus planner, which has like the daily big three and a place for you to really think intentionally about like each day, the things that you're going to accomplish. So there are a million trillion planning systems and all sorts of stuff. Just pick one, like try different things. If it's not a good fit, you can find another one. But I think, like, I'm a systems girl, so I'm always advocate for some sort of planning system, some sort of method that keeps you on track, at least with your self check-in, right? Like
Yep.
days aren't going by where you're like, I don't even know what I did today. I don't even know what, is on my to-do list because I don't have a list. Like if you at least start there, then you can work your way up to, getting more productive in the ways that matter and prioritizing the things that you actually want to do.
Yep. And this, like what we're talking about here, ultimately what it's doing for you is it's teaching you how to use your intuition and how to check in with yourself, and like those little whispers that you get, like those little, like if you feel resentment or if you feel like really sad or weepy about something, like your kid's growing, and like there's so many times that I've just made tiny little shifts that have caused this huge ripple effect in my life, and it's like, so whenever you're feeling these emotions, like, we usually want to push them away, but like when you push stuff away, like that's when I feel like the regret will come in, where you're like 5 years down, because the time will pass. The time, that's going to be the title of this, right? The time will pass. Like, the worst thing in life, I think, is having regrets, and you have regrets when you're not living in the moment and you're not taking care of what is helping you live a fulfilled and meaningful life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, on that note, thanks for listening, and we will be back here next week with another episode.
Bye.
Hey, friend, loving this combo?
Then don't keep it to yourself.
Hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous,
Leave us a quick review. It helps more women find the show, and it honestly means the world to us.
and we really want to connect beyond the podcast. So, come say hi on social.